நம்ம மூஞ்சி எலமெண்ட் வந்து நான் மறந்து போயிடுத்து விபூதி எல்லாம் போயிடுத்தேன். ஸோ ஆன் ரெக்கார்ட், ப்ளீஸ் இக்னோர் மை lack of vibhuti today. I've already gone live, so I can't get up and go and put vibhuti. Assume there is a vibhuti here in Menetti. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatikum Mavamahe Kavim Kavinam Umashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvannodibhisi Sadanam Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Bhirvajinivati Deenam Avitrevatu Mahasaraswatye Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः अस्मिन् गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः देवीं वाचमजनयन्त देवाः तां विश्वरूपा पशवो वदन्ति सा नो मन्द्रेषु मूर्जन्दुहाना धेनुर्वागस्मानुपतिष्ठदयितु व्यासं वसिष्ठदत्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः शिवशक्तिसमारम्भां भास्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मश्रीनाथपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रीललितामहात्रिपुरसुन्दरी समेत श्रीचन्द्रमौळीश्वराय नमः श्रीकाञ्चीकामकोटिपीठाधिपति जगद्गुरु श्रीशङ्कराचार्य श्रीचरणयोः प्रणामाः स्वस्ति श्रीमदखिलभूमण्डलालङ्कारत्रयत्रिंशत्कोटिदेवता सेवित श्रीकामाक्षी देवी सनाथ श्रीमदेकाम्रनाथ श्रीमहादेवी सनाथ श्रीहस्तिगिरिनाथ साक्षात्कार परमाधिष्ठान सत्यव्रतनामाङ्कित काञ्ची दिव्यक्षेत्रे शारदावडसुस्थितानाम् अतुलितसुधारदमाधुर्य कमरासन कामिनी धम्मिल्ल सम्फुल्ल मल्लिका मालिका निष्यन्द मकरन्दझरी सौवस्तिक वाङ्निकुम्भ विजृम्भणानन्द तुन्दुलिति मनीषमण्डलानाम् अनवृताद्वैत विद्या विनोदरसिकानां निरन्तरालङ्कृतीकृत शान्तिदान्ति भूम्नां सकलभुवनचक्रप्रतिष्ठापक श्रीचक्रप्रतिष्ठा विख्यात यशोऽलङ्कृतानां निखिलपाषण्डषण्डकण्टकोद्घाटनेन विशदीकृत वेदान्तमार्ग षण्मतप्रतिष्ठापकाचार्याणां श्रीमत्परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्यवर्य श्रीजगद्गुरु श्रीमच्छङ्करभगवत्पादाचार्याणाम् अधिष्ठाने सिंहासनाभिषिक्त श्रीमच्चन्द्रशेखरेन्द्र सरस्वती संयमीन्द्राणाम् अधिष्ठाने सिंहासनाभिषिक्त श्रीमज्जयेन्द्र सरस्वती संयमीन्द्राणाम् अन्ते वासिवर्य श्रीमच्छङ्करविजयेन्द्र सरस्वती श्रीपादानां च चरणधरणियोः सप्रश्रयं साञ्जलिबन्धं च नमस्कुर्मः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. I made some commitment last time, so I'll keep up those commitments. We'll first 10-15 minutes we will jump straight into the topic, which is of importance to you. But prior to that, couple of things. You must be wondering what I'm chanting when I start the class. These are a bunch of dhyana shlokams. Adukku script irukku, there is audio file there. Those of you who need to learn and practice that, feel free. If all of you want a special session to be conducted for teaching that, I can do that, so that you all are able to chant it and practice it well. That is number one. Purpose of the dhyana shlokam is, we must be busy with many activities and many things might be going on in our head. We must have run down the stairs, run up the stairs, rushed from a different activity. That activity could have been very intense. There could be several reasons that could have disturbed your mental and physical balance and fitness at that moment of time. When you sit down to do Vedic chanting or puja, it is extremely essential, not a matter of just formality, that you have that focus and concentration so deep that you don't multitask, you don't do here and there. You shouldn't do any of the other tasks. Vedam means is God, Bhagavan. Veda Mata ne undu. So it has to be treated with immense respect and commitment and dedication, which I talked in the last class. And when I teach the basics of Swarams, I'll tell you how the rishis anticipated in different yugas the significance of perfection, discipline will automatically come down. As we go into deeper and deeper into Kali Yuga, it will even come down much worse. So much so that there was a person who asked Mahapariva, "You're saying Kali Yuga, we are going to end, everything is going to dissolve at the end of Kali Yuga. So what happens to Veda? Everything will go down the drain." There's a lot of fear, panic. A few decades ago, it's not recently. Mahapariva, as you know, was a walking god, Nadamadam Devam. He said, I can see the end of Kali Yuga. I'm happy because in this village, there is one person that will be doing Sandhya Vandanam and Nityanushtanam as Agnihotra. So you be happy. Veda will be alive. So look at the positive, the glass half full rather than half empty. And you do your job. You don't have to worry about the rest of the world. It's a very powerful message. So these dhyana shlokam are meant to bring all of us, like, now he's adjusting his chair, he's adjusting his light, camera. So many things you will see is going on. It might distract each one of us. It might distract the person himself. Or technically, the headset is not working. I told him there is static. So many things are going on. So it is important to get everybody into, ready, set, go. Sorry. And it will control your breathing, because breathing control is essential for Carnatic music or Vedic chanting for you to be able to deliver what is required, because the swaras have a fixed frequency. So lower note, fixed note, higher note, they have got certain frequencies. So you can't have a frequency meter and say, am I chanting to the right frequency? Approximately, it's all about sound, your ability to judge the sound. You can only do that if your breath control is absolutely perfect. So if you have other problems, start doing pranayama. Pranayama you can do wherever you want, whenever you want in a day, as many times as you want. If you have other physical fitness, mental fitness problem, do dhyanam, nyasam, and workouts so that you are able to chant the way you are expected to chant. You can't say, I'm not able to hold my breath, so I'm making mistakes. There are no excuses. I'll just give a scientific reference here. It's not just scare tactics. The scientific reference is, uh, there was a champagne flute kept in a table in an enclosed room with only two speakers. This was an experiment done, because we always believe experiment done in the Western world is the most authentic rather than some rishi saying something. So that experiment was done where just music was played through the speakers. After a while, that champagne flute broke into so many pieces that one could not imagine. Now, there was nobody physically hitting the champagne flute, right, inside the room. So the moral of the story is, when you create sound, it can be healing or it can be destructive. So for those of you who are not engineers or students of physics, understand vibrations and sound coexist. They produce a lot of sound and they produce a lot of energy, heat energy also. So when Vedas are chanted, it's one of the best perfectly calibrated harmonics that is getting created. So whether you chant alone or 1,000 people sitting together and chanting and raising the dB level so much, you are creating sound waves like that experiment in the room. If you chant it the way the composition was there, it will do a healing effect. Let's say that three people are in different track, somebody else is in different track, and you're putting your own swaras in your own way. Somebody is screaming, somebody is mumbling. You can do damage to your internal parts also, because those sound and vibrations are going to impact internally. It is coming from your body, so it can impact you as well. And you're going to cause destruction outside. You can say, I have never seen anything damaged by chanting of Vedas. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So we'll come to that, how discipline is emphasized in chanting of Vedas. But prior to that, you understand the Dhyana Shlokam. So, since everybody is there, it is important that you start with your Abhivadanam. This is a normal thing that you are expected to do in a Veda class at the beginning and at the end. So this is something which I have not insisted on day one, but if you don't know Abhivadanam, write to me separately. I'll give you the whole hierarchy of Gotras, Rishis, Shakhas, everything. With that, you can go and consult your Vadyar or your elders in your family or relatives in your family to say, hey, what is it that my Abhivadanam is? So at least you learn that and chant, say that properly. So that is one. Second, we start with the Dhyana Shloka. Dhyana Shloka, again, we start with Gananam Tva. Because it is in our system, protocol and procedure, that anything that we do, we first pray to Ganapati as the Vigneshwarar. Vignam means obstacles, problems, challenges, distractions, disruptions. So Nirvignam, remove all the obstacles. So we pray to that God. Please, I am now embarking on learning or I am teaching. For all of us, it is important that there are no obstacles. Obstacles could be power cut, obstacles could be internet drop, obstacles could be somebody coming and screaming behind your back. It could be anything. The significance of Nirvignam, I will come in another 1 minute. How serious it is and how it impacts us. So once the Nirvignam part is done, means we are setting the stage that we are focused. Now we are focused. We have introduced ourselves. We are focused. And we are praying to God, please don't let this get distracted or disrupted. Second is Prano Devi, first line of Saraswati Suktam or Vak Suktam. Vak means speech. Saraswati is the goddess of speech, goddess of knowledge. So we are saying, whatever we learn and chant, ensure that my tongue rolls properly. All the diction, akshara, everything comes the way it is supposed to. So you pray to that God. Third, immediately you go to gurus. Without the gurus, you will not get that knowledge. So simply praying to Goddess Saraswati is not going to sort your problem. You need guru's blessings because in our system, it is a guru that takes you to God. God is within you. Guru means the person who removes the darkness in your life, darkness of knowledge. How do you remove the darkness? By providing knowledge or providing light. So that is the meaning of guru. Veda itself, I've given the meaning last time. Vidna and so connect all the dots. Now everything will fall in place. In Guru, as I explained to you last time, it's always the parampara. We believe in oral tradition, in-person tradition, people-to-people knowledge transfer. Adobe Acrobat is probably just 50 years old or 45 years old. There was no PDF prior to that. So you go back, whatever you take for granted today, internet, digital, Adobe Acrobat, MS Word, none of this existed for millenniums, for yugas. So how was the knowledge transferred? Orally. It will be taught orally, you have to listen, memorize. Taught orally, listen, memorize. So while we believe we have progressed ourselves with all these tools, it is actually a disadvantage. It's a source of error. When I say something, you may not hear the same frequency the way I delivered. Not because you are deaf or I am committing a mistake, but because of the medium. Like I am using Google Meet, YouTube. They are all software and applications run on a browser. So with all those limitations, we are trying to learn. We started a compromise. The idea was once in a while you will come in person and get the calibration done. That was the whole idea. So remote learning was introduced and we continue that. So in Guru Parampara, we have to just not thank our immediate Guru, but Guru's Guru, which is Paramaguru. Paramaguru's Guru is Parameshti Guru. Parameshti Guru's Guru is Parapara Guru. All the way you go up to Dakshinamurti. You pay obeisance to Vyasa. You pay obeisance to Narada. And most importantly, Mathams are the Ivy League schools for Veda. They have been entrusted by Adi Shankaracharya to continue the tradition of Vedam and maintain the knowledge base, R&D knowledge base of what actual Vedam is and how it is to be chanted and the intricacies of Veda, the science, the mathematics, many things are involved. This is not a bunch of mantras that we are blabbering. So all those things are maintained by them. So when we have doubts, we go to them. Okay. Also understand the whole concept of MKS system, FPS system, which we call as dimensions, never existed until science introduced. And even in that science, they have changed it 3 times. The whole world is an MKS system. US is still operating on FPS system. How many of you are clueless in what I'm saying now? FPS, MKS. You can raise your hand. Okay. MKS is meter kilogram second. FPS is foot pound second. Okay, one is a metric system, one is a inch system, system internationale. So we take many things for granted. Oh, time means 1 second is 1 second. No, it is not that simple. If you have a battery operated quartz watch, that 1 second will be different. If I have the dialed based watch, the old traditional ones, 1 second consistency will be different. If you have a battery operated watch, that 1 second will be different. Then how do you maintain this whole world? There is a whole system that they have established up to a nuclear clock, which is maintained in France. So everybody has to calibrate. All those things are there. So it's not easy. That is why Vedam existed from the time when these things were not there. So even the concept of hour, minute, seconds, etc., traditionally Sanatana Dharma used to follow something different. If you next time you go to Kanchi Madam or any other Madam, Shringeri Madam, you see they will use a different notation or system called Hora, Yama, Yamadharma Raja. That's different. And they will do a ring of the bell. That's the end of the hour. Nadigai, Vinadi, Ghatika. These are all the basics of measure, even with the time system, the dimension system. Vedas existed even before that. So we have a different notation to keep in sync and follow a measure. I'll come to that. In all of these things, it is very important that we never forget the sense of gratitude. So you don't say, yeah, gratitude. I recognize, no, I acknowledge, no, that you taught me this, you gave me this guidance, you helped me. No, the concept of rin, indebtedness, is very, very deep. And when you don't square off those things, it is called doshas. You keep acquiring doshas. So if you really go back to your karma and dharma system and your life is nothing but a balance sheet at the back of it, when you don't square things off, you keep on accumulating negative karmas. And as long as you have negative, you're going to keep being born again and again. You're not going to get freed from the cycle of life and birth and death. So the sense of gratitude is very important. So thank you again and again. You do that in the form of doing this, you do that in the form of namaskarams, you do that in the form of appreciation, acknowledgement, whatever. So you see, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, we are praying to the Gurus. Please keep continuing to bless us with more and more knowledge. That pipe should never stop or run dry. In that sense, when we do swasti, we are doing swasti for a particular matham. I am attached to the Kanchi matham, so I am giving the swasti for Kanchi Shankara Madam. Likewise, there is a swasti for Shringeri Madam. Likewise, there is a swasti for Ramanujacharya followers. So then you get into the philosophy aspect of his Advaita, Dvaita, Visishtadvaita, so many things. Schools of philosophies. All of those things you'll get in Vidyapita documents. All of these things are coming in full force in PDF and courses. But at least you should know, never mix a swasti of one matam with another matam. Don't go to Shringeri and chant Kanchi matam. Because here I'm saying, right? Parivrajaka Varishyagat Guru Shri Adi Shankaracharya Lenda Aramiche, I'm coming straight to 68th sage of Kanchi Madam, Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. Then our next Shankaracharya is Sri Jayendra Saraswati. Then Balaperivan சொல்றது Sri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati. Now Balaperiva is in Adhishtanam. Sri Periva Jayendra Saraswati, Sri Jayendra Saraswati is in also has done Adhisthana Pravesha. So whoever was Balaperiva is now the Mathadipati. He keeps joking. At least now stop calling me Balaperiva because I am a senior person, the head of the Matha. But that is what it is. Now another Acharya has been inducted into the Shankara Madam as the next. So 68, 69, 70, 71st Acharya is there. So we pay our obeisance to all of them. So when you do Namaskaram, it's a big thing. There is a script, there is an audio file for Swasti Vachanam, Kanchiyode. Those of you who are Sringeri, if you tell me, I'll teach the Sringeri one also. I'll share the script for that also. So this is in terms of what we do, how we start, and where we go. In the last class, we talked about the different Vedas. That is where we started with the introduction. Correct? So one other point that you need to know is languages is a topic by itself. I can go on for 10 days about languages. Scripts is different. I can go on for 10 days about scripts, evolution of scripts, continuity of scripts, derivation of scripts from one to another. It's a topic by itself. Originally, it all started as a graphic thing, glyphs. Then slowly it evolved, changed. There are some languages that don't have scripts even today. So don't get mixed up with all those things. Bottom line, whether you read it in English, Telugu, Kannada, it doesn't matter. It has to be chanted the way it has to be chanted. So primary source is this. That is only for in case I forget, in case I need quick reference. This has to be very clear. Right? So we talked about Samaveda and the number of recensions that were there, of which only 3 are left. Kauthuma, Jaiminiya, Rananiya. That is the third one. Hardly people would have heard this. So let's come to the Krishna Yajurveda. Out of the Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda and Krishna Yajurveda. Krishna Yajurveda is black, which is more popular in the south. North is white, which is the Shukla Yajurveda. So in the Krishna Yajurveda that we are going to learn, there are primarily 4 recensions. Recensions. Recensions means branches or categories. Most popular is Taittiriya. The next one is Maitrayani. Then there is something called Charaka Katha. And then the fourth one is Kapisthala Katha. So Taittiriya is the most preserved and by far the most widespread in the south. You go anywhere in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, this is what they will chant. In each of these recensions, there is something called sutras. Sutras means rules, procedures, rules, protocols. So you just can't decide, okay, I'm going to do puja, I will start with Naivedyam first and then I will come to Ganananto at the end. You can't have your own remix concepts or innovative concepts or experimentation concepts. Whether you're doing a puja or a shraddham, depending on which gotram, which sutram, which shakha you belong to, because it is assumed by now you all would have gone to a Vedic school and learned Vedam and come, right? So when you do a lot of Nityanashtanam or Grahasthashrama karma, Nitya karmas, technically you are all supposed to do Upasana. And if you have to be very Vedic and spiritual, you have to do Agnihotram. They are all very demanding things. So we don't do it. We do it saying, okay, when I'm retired, I'll probably attend all those things. But there is a lot of rules and procedures you need to follow. And it is for a reason. Because when you are doing Parayanam, chanting and creating sound, you want to make sure you don't cause destructive sound. You are doing positive sound in the harmonics, the way it is being done. Just like if you go to an orchestra, let's say a Western orchestra will have 20, 30 people on the stage. Imagine each fellow, the cello fellow, violin, everybody is in his own track. Can you sit in that room and enjoy that music? I don't think you can. So you want everything to fall in place. So they have some notation concepts. But in the notation concepts, you are bottling everybody to one fixed template. At the other end, the South Indian Carnatic music is got a lot of scope for creativity, but within boundaries. It's very complex to understand. The bottom line is all of these things, Vedam, Sangeetam, Bharatanatyam, all other Natyams, they follow a lot of mathematics. They follow a certain concept called Katapayadi. There's a lot of mathematics involved in that. For a significant amount of time, Sanskritam was being used as a language. Prior to that, Grantham. I don't know whether you guys have heard about Grantham. Grantham was used. So there is a lot of script that is in Grantham script. All Vadyars would learn still from Grantham script, which is supposedly more accurate for learning Vedams. The next one was Sanskritam. Vedic Sanskritam was different. For example, if you're familiar with today, Sanskritam is using Devanagari script, in which A is written like a 3 and then one line and one vertical line. Original Vedic script A will be like a palm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like exactly like this palm. So there is a lot of evolution that has happened. The idea is just to get the Aksharam correct. Okay, so a lot of discipline. So we are into Taittiriya, and within Taittiriya Upanishad, majority of the people will follow Abhastamba Sutram. These are the most popular thing. Now let us come to the Taittiriya Upanishad itself. Taittiriya Vedam or Krishna Vedam is divided into what segments? Most important is Taittiriya Samhita. So Samhita means it contains the core mantras or riks of the rite with Brahmana or prose interwoven. So all the mantras with swaras and Brahmana, the prose, the script, the text, etc., forms part of Samhita. They are divided into 7 kandas. Kandas means 7 sections, which are further divided into prapatakas. Prapatakas means chapters. And that is further divided into anuvakas, which is paragraphs. So 7 kandas, sections, divided into prapatakas, and prapatakas are divided into anuvakas. I'll repeat many of these things as we learn, so don't be tense or worried. You have YouTube also, you can replay it and take notes. Then you have Taittiriya Brahmana. That has got 3 kandas. It gives you explanation and detail of all the sacrifices being done. Now imagine when you're chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, Om Namaste Rudramanya Bhavato Deshabe Namaha. This is Parayanam. With Parayanam, you can do Abhishekam with Dravyams. With the same Vedic mantra, you can do Archana with flowers or other Dravyams. Or you can do Homa, where you have Ahutis offered through ghee into a fire pit. So all are important elements. Just like if you want to be nutritious, you need carb, protein, this, that, etc. Right? Same way, you need all these tools to reach God. You can't say I'll just keep doing Parayanam and I'm supposed to reach God. Yeah, you may reach God, but maybe a couple of janmams more. If you're able to do all, then your chances of reaching God is much better and faster. That is where all the procedures, rituals, If you're doing a puja, what is the structure, what you must do first, how you must do, everything is given. Same way, if you're doing homam, you have to do Agni Prajvalyam. You have to bring Agni, light the fire in the Homokundam, or everything. There's a procedure. You can't just take a gas lighter and do it. You can't take a matchstick and throw it. What samit you use to light the fire and maintain the fire? What are the dravyams or the media that you use? Only ghee or other dravyams? They're all there. Size of the Homokundam. There's a lot of geometry. The shapes of Homokundam. You must have seen only square. There are different shapes for different purposes. It's a very detailed subject. They're all geometry. They're all about science of, uh, oxidation to maintain the heat and production of heat energy, what will evaporate at what temperatures, so what dravyams, almonds, walnuts, sesame seeds, they're all there. Then there is Bali. There's so much to learn. And once you get into the bottom of it, why, you will know, you'll appreciate what you have been given free of cost. This level of intellectual property and knowledge, it cannot be obtained without spending millions of dollars through other systems. We have gotten it free of cost. And they're all very relevant to us even today. So Taittiriya Aranyaka has got 7 Prapatakas. Prapatakas are also called as Prashnas. P-R-A-S, soft. S means not Saraswati, but Ishwar. Ashwin, that was your mom? Okay. So Prashna. So Rudra Prashna, Aruna Prashna. Don't get confused. Prashna, Ish Shambho Ish Prashna is question. Prashna, soft, is the chapter, that section. So it has got 7. And Aranyaka means forest. So these are forest text moving from right towards contemplation. When do you go to the forest? You go into deep meditation, etc., etc. In short, without going too much into philosophy, that is when you're moving close to attaining moksha or liberation. Then there is something called Taittiriya Upanishad. In that Upanishad, there are 3 Vallis. Shiksha Valli. Yes, please. Rejoin. Quickly rejoin. So Shiksha Valli, Ananda Valli, and Bhrigu Valli. These are the philosophical components and opens with the science of recitation. If you go to a Vedic school, this is what you will start with. The first lesson that you will learn is Shikshavalli, Anandavalli, Bhrigavalli. Now, in Shikshavalli, imagine that you are going to a Gurukula school under the total supervision of a Guru. Parents will leave you to it's like a remote schooling in hostel or dorm. You'll come home only for vacations or when after 6 months the Vedic learning stops and then you start. So the whole Upakarma, Punal Matarade, is because of the break that you do and when you start. So that is another curriculum system, etc., etc. There it teaches you that what all things you must do. First and the foremost, your mother and father are the first gurus. How to maintain respect for them till the end of your life. Yes, Ashwin. Go ahead, unmute yourself and you can ask your question if you have some question. Can you hear me?
Sir, I can't hear you.
I can hear you. Is anybody having problem hearing me?
No, your voice is quite clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. This is what I said, distraction and disruption, which will not happen if you're sitting in front of me. Anyway, so you have to not forget what they have done to you or what they're doing to you. So it's called Pitraran Matraran, indebtedness. So you'll have to constantly strive to square off that debt. Okay? The next person in your life is the guru, that is imparting knowledge. So there is a guru rin. Rin means indebtedness. When you're getting something from somebody, you are indebted to that person. So in this case, because you're in the Gurukulam, it teaches you how to pray for Guru's long life, Guru's good health, how to worship the Guru, how to offer obeisance to the Guru. All of those things will come in detail. Then it teaches you what are the essential elements of Vedic chanting, rules. All those things will cover in that. So when we come to Shikshavali, etc., you will know what I'm talking about. Okay. So if you see any reference T.S 1.1.1.1 in that order, it means Taitriya Samhita T.S. First one is the Kanda, major section, Kanda, then Prapataka, then Anuvaka. That is the nomenclature, like your IP address protocol. So, for example, Ekagni Kanda will focus everything about mantras for marriage and domestic rights. It's also called as Mahanarayana Upanishad. So several portions have become specially well known in this, of which Sri Rudram or Namakam and Chamakam are from the Taitriya Samhita 4.5 and 4.7. So far, so good. Any question? Okay. So this is a recitation or chanting. So it is not a song like a Carnatic music. So recitation means each akshara has got a swara, which means it is pinpoint akshara and swara. The next akshara will have a different swara. Only in case of anudata, you can have back-to-back anudata. In case of udata, you can have 2-3 aksharas as udata, same swaras. But you will never find 2 aksharas back-to-back having swarita, which is the vertical line, the high note. So imagine it like a DC current graph. It has to go like straight perpendicular, continue the same node, or come down or go down, like right angle lines. It is never a curve. Like you can start and go fade up and fade down doesn't exist in Veda. Okay. So they are all chanted. They are not sung. That is a fundamental thing that you have to learn. But you don't need a musical knowledge to learn Veda. All you need to understand is the difference in sound. Om. If you hear this, it is Udata. Om Namo Bhagava. All Udata. Te Swarita. Rudra Anudata. So if I chant Dra, I don't have to keep telling you I'm doing Anudata, Anudata, Anudata. You have to understand I'm going low note. Te Swarita. Swaha Dirga Swarita. The Swarita is extended. Dirga means extension. So last time I told you these are the primary 4 swaras that you have in Yajurveda. So let us not worry about Samaveda and Shukla Yajurveda or Rig Veda. Correct? So far, so good. So now, what are the different disciplines of Shikshavali or the key attributes of Vedic chanting? That itself is there in the Shikshavali. Shikshambya Akhya Samah Varnaswarah Matrabalam Samassantanah Ityuvadashikshadhyayah. So the Shikshavali itself is giving you the 6 main attributes of Vedic chanting. Let's go one by one. Varna. Varna means the letter, the correct pronunciation of each sound, which we otherwise in oral or colloquial terms we called as Akshara Shuddhi. So you see, Akshara, Kshara, Shuddhi, Dhi, Shu. It is extremely important. So Ashwin and Yashas, I know you're growing up here. So you can say, hey, I just know how to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. It's okay. I've had several kids that have come and learned from me. They started like that. Today they're the masters in chanting. They do Rudra Ganam also. Ganam is the highest level. And they have learned. So it is manageable. You have to unlearn something when you're in the Veda class, and then you can maintain your accent, everything for your general survival. So please keep that in mind. I'm not going to say that you have to do it, but it is your effort. I will be very patient in teaching you until you learn it the perfect way. But you just have to have the humility and the patience to learn. Swara. Swara means the accent, the note on which the syllable is voiced. Ipada sona, 4 swaras. So each akshara will have a swara. Matra, that is what is the key dimension that we need to know. Matra is the duration, how long a syllable is held. So basically, if you see, there are only two: Hrasvam, Hrasva, short, or Dirga, long. If you put a Avagraha or S letter, for a reason that I'll explain in future other classes, it will be prolonged. For example, if you are familiar with Namostu, Namostute, after Mo there is a S letter. It is a filler. Namostu comes from Namaha and Astu combined. These are Sanskrit rules. I'll go into the details when I'm getting the basics of those chanting. So you can't say Namostute. If you're chanting Namostute, you're doing something wrong. It is Namostute. Namostute. So Mo is already Dirgam. You put one more matra in that to make it prolonged. Now, how to maintain that matra? We all can do like this: one matra, two matra. This is one way. Or blink of an eye, one matra. Blink it twice, two matra. Or if you have seen Carnatic musicians, they will do talam with their feet when they're cross-legged. It's another way of doing it. You can do your own way. At the end of the day, you need to sync up with what I'm teaching you, and you all need to sync up to one person and then chant. So ultimately, all of you have to be in sync. We cannot have a 5.1 or a 7.1 Dolby system or surround sound. Unacceptable. Single mono track, totally synchronized. It is possible. I can play recordings of most complex Vedic chants of 150 plus people chanting in one room. You won't be able to even say that there is more than one person. So it is all perfectly possible. Ashwin, do you believe that? Good.
Yes.
So that should be your goal. You can't say it's very difficult, Mama. No, it is difficult, but not impossible. With effort and perseverance, you can achieve that. So matra is a duration. So any akshara, one matra, two matra, which means the time you take for chanting should be twice that of the time you take for a. Correct? Any question or any doubt? Because it's very, very fundamental. If not, the next characteristic is balam. Balam means the force. Om Ganana Twa. Do you see stability in my voice? Solidity in my voice? Imagine instead of chanting like that, I chant like this. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatikam. Do you think you're going to get the same effect? No. So you can't say this is my voice. God has created me like this. No. This voice is also modulated and trained. So voice can be modulated. There are voice training exercises available. You got to pick up all those things and get to the right balam. It also means you can't chant like this. No. Or screaming. Oh, scream from your bottom of your throat. Then sama. Sama means the evenness, the uniformity of the pace and pitch. Which means if you start like this, Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, Namaste Rudramanyavavutota Ishabe Namaha, Namaste. Same thing you have to go. You can't say Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, Namaste Rudramanyavavutota Ishabe Namaha. Sounds funny, but it has to be told that you can't afford to do it. So, octaves you need to be aware of. If not, Google it. Otherwise, my classes will become 3 hours classes. If you can't match with the pitch of other people, you can play with the octaves. Priyada, these are very important tips. Practice it. Otherwise, I've seen people tearing their voice apart, and for 2-3 classes, they can't even chant. Mama, I'll be in a listening mode. What is the point? You have to chant, so I know whether you're chanting it properly or not for me to correct you. So the evenness of the chant. So don't let somebody rush in the middle of the rik or the middle of the section or anuvaka to anuvaka, different speed. All that stuff is not correct. Then santana. Santana means the continuity, the joining and flow between letters and words. For example, I gave a namaha and astu. If you see a visarga, which is the colon, 2 dots, in middle of rik, it has to be substituted. Have you heard of the term Bhor Bhuvasuvarom iti Digbandaha? It comes from Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Om, Iti. 5 words combined together becomes Bhur Bhuvasuvarom iti. So Bhuhu, the Visarga, gets substituted by Ir, because after Visarga, if it is Bha, the next letter, it is substituted by Ir. Bhuvaha followed by Suvaha, the letter is Sa. So that second Visarga gets substituted by half of Sa, which is Is. That is why it comes as Bhur Bhuvas. Suvaha followed by Om, which is A. There the Visarga gets substituted by Ir, but Ir plus O becomes Ro. That is why it is called as Suvaro. Got it? Suvarom. Im plus iti. Im plus e becomes me. Suvaromiti. So, Bhur Bhuvas Suvaromiti. Now, you're doing a lot of substitution, combination, etc. That continuity is very important. You can't just break something somewhere. Although my method of teaching is phonetic and I'm acquiring doshas for that, but it is easier for people to learn rather than me getting into Sanskrit grammar class after class after class and confusing people. Many people have voted that phonetic breakup of the riks is an easy thing for all of you to learn who don't have knowledge of Sanskrit, etc. So I am doing the Padabedam in a very unorthodox and non-traditional way. I'm saying it upfront. So anybody who finds criticism of my method of teaching, they can watch this video. That today I forgot and I went live on YouTube, so I could not get up and go put Vibhuti, though I reminded of that. Or why is this man breaking the padam like this? Is doing papam. I'm genuinely willing to do papam to ensure that many people learn many things from me to make it easy for them. So, varna, swara, matra, balam, sama, santana. Those are all the 3 things. 6 things. 6 attributes. Got it? So, you have 4 swaras. Udata, Anudata, Swarita, Dirgha Swarita. Then you have the 6 attributes. These are all the things that you will have to remember when you're chanting. Veda. Any questions so far? Am I going too fast? Okay, great. So you can go and subscribe to my channel, YouTube channel. Watch for 3 months of maybe 12 to 15 classes or 16 classes of or videos of basics of Sanskrit and basics of Vedic chant. In the Sanskrit Devanagari vowels, I, U, I, A, I, O, aha, all of those things you need to be aware of. Understand ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, ya. So, of which ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, 5 vargas, 5 by 5 matrix. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. The fifth column is nga. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya, nga, nya. These are different aksharas. So that will be 5 by 5 matrix. Then you have ya, ra, la, va, sa, sha, sha, ha, ha. All of those la, ksha in the last. They are all categorized in Sanskrit as guttural, palatal. So it tells you from where you have to chant those aksharas for correct. So understand Mahaprana means bhu, kha. These are all ha. These are all Mahaprana. That means the air has to come from the Nabhi. You'll have to create that sound from the Nabhi. Some will be harsh sounds will come from the rear of the mouth. Softer one, Pushpa, Saraswati comes from the front of the mouth. These are all things that you can learn from those classes. I will drop a PDF file which I have created now, where it is one short matrix of all the Devanagari aksharas with all the corresponding aksharas in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Gujarati, everything. It's a very useful document. I will share it for all of you. These are all created for Vidyapita, but I'm releasing it ahead of time so that you can use it. So don't distribute it to the public domain right now. So we talked about time in seconds is not valid. Matra, blink of an eye, and this thing is. But now, when you say the tempo, so what tempo should one chant? You must chant in one tempo that by which you don't make mistakes. Depending on your proficiency, you can go faster or slower. But regardless of what speed you chant, the tempo, the ratio between the hrasvam, short, and the dheergam, longer akshara, that doesn't change. Which means very slow tempo. But the time I take to chant in that tempo and the time I take to chant in the tempo should be 1:2. Doesn't matter. Or I can go super fast. Even in that, 1 to 2 cannot change. Concept is clear? So imagine it like an accordion. If you open that accordion, it will be like as if it is flat. You close it, the pitch between the slats does not change because it is already fixed when the accordion was made. You can open it or compress it. Open it or compress. That's all you can do. Clear? So these are all the things that you need to know. So we summarize. We start with Abhivadanam. Those who don't know Abhivadanam, message me. I'll at least tell you what it is. Then you know. Dhyana Shlokam. If you have got access to my shared folder, Dhyana Shloka script and audio should be there. Many people have complained audio files are missing. I'll see what happened and I'll move it from my backup if it is there. Otherwise, I'll have to create fresh audio files, which I will do. Make sure you have access to the audio files and scripts. I create scripts in Devanagari, English, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada. These are the 5 assured languages. If there are Malayalis who can only read Malayalam, they can get Malayalam also, or Gujarati. I don't think I have any Gujarati person learning from me. but I can create the script in any native language. The only guarantee is I can proofread English, I can proofread Devanagari, I can proofread Tamil. I cannot proofread other languages. So whatever is there is your responsibility, or you'll have to get somebody's help and validate it. Or people who are interested to volunteer to proofread, and we can do proofread scripts in multiple languages. Okay. Try to be in a veshti and properly attired when you are doing Vedic chanting practice or Sandhya Vandanam or everything on that. Don't do it in shorts. Don't do it in the attire that you slept with in your bed. All those things should be avoided. Do Sandhya Vandanam. I'm releasing the script for Sandhya Vandanam if you don't know. So you can start doing that. As I told you, in Sanatana Dharma, for everything, there are 5 options. The proper full option, next best, next best, next best. Shortest is like, I have only 30 seconds, what can I do? There is a solution for that also. The aim is to encourage you to learn and practice for your own good. Okay. Last mantra. Practice, 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 practice. No amount of practice is enough. The more you practice, the more you will be perfect, the more you will be fast in learning. And imagine when you're in a large group in a class, if you don't practice, if you forgot what I taught you last class, and you just come straight class to class and sit here, you are going to slow down other people, because everybody else would have come prepared. They'll move fast and you're the only one struggling. It will be embarrassing. And when it gets to that stage, it will be difficult because most of you are adults. I can take liberty with Ashwin. Even that also is not possible. He'll say, Mama, you can't do that to me. I also have self-respect. My mom never scolded me. How can you scold me in front of everybody? I have to operate within all these boundaries. And still I have to correct everybody. I have to make sure that everybody learns it right and chants it right. That is very important. So I need your cooperation in making sure that you come prepared. Practice. If you have doubt, during the week, you can message me, check with me. Make it a habit to send audio files recorded so I can hear you and correct you. So there are very many things. We all carry a great sense of responsibility towards ourselves and towards many people who are supporting us in our learning and chanting. Okay. So I think I have covered quite a bit, which I wanted to. I will go into more detailed and specific, and I'll start with Ganananto and all that. I hope to hear from each one of you during the week. All right. And finally, help increase the views. And if more people want to learn, let them join now. I'm not sure I'm going to go to this level of basics again. All right. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Enjoy. Happy learning.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.